The purpose of the cold call is information gathering. I want you to understand lead generation is not sales. I want to say that again. Lead generation is not sales. When I am on the phone lead generating, I am not on the phone selling. Remember, I said step 3 is to have the appointment, the sales call, the pitch. That's when I'm going in and using my skill set to pitch you now because I've done all the preliminary work. Welcome back to my channel. And this week we're going to continue to build on what we talked about last week about how to crush cold calls. But as I told you, February, we're focusing just on our skill set because March is going to focus on our money, baby. We're going to get back to it. But I wanted to just have this conversation or this dialogue with you around the purpose of a cold call. So that's what this video is about. I know a lot of people think that the purpose of a cold call is to sell people. However, I want to help you think about this differently. If you know anything about me, I'm Shizette Cowan. I'm the CEO of Real Estate. I help people think about their business in a different capacity so they can do different things. I help them become the CEO of real estate by focusing on their real estate sales first, skills second. So when we talk about our skills, and not to say that the skills are secondary to the business, however, the business has to be able to run and stand alone. But here's what I want to talk to you about, the purpose of a cold call. So many times we actually think that the purpose of a cold call is to sell somebody, and it is not. If you are trying to sell people on a cold call, you are missing it and you're never going to get the business because the purpose of the cold call is for one thing and one thing only, and that is to set the appointment. Once you start to understand this, you will start to take off your sales hat. Your license says you're a real estate sales professional, but when you're cold calling, you're not a sales professional. You are a person inquiring to find out how you can help. So here's what I want you to understand. The purpose of the cold call is to set the appointment. Our team goes through 3 steps in that process. 1, we set the appointment. 2, we call 24 hours to pre-qualify the seller. 3, we have the actual appointment, which is the sales pitch. And this is when you use your skills. So let's talk about the first part. The first part is I'm calling you to set the appointment. Let's change the strategy or the trajectory of that first initial cold call. The purpose of the cold call is information gathering. I want you to understand lead generation is not sales. I want to say that again. Lead generation is not sales. When I am on the phone lead generating, I am not on the phone selling. Remember, I said step 3 is to have the appointment, the sales call, the pitch. That's when I'm going in and using my skill set to pitch you now because I've done all the preliminary work. Let's back up to the call. I'm on the cold call. I'm looking for 3 things. I want to know what's motivating you. Why do you want to sell? Do you have the ability to sell? And what is your timeline? Once I discover these 3 pieces of information, I'm setting the appointment. Here's what that looks like. Hey, Chizette, glad you called. I'm looking to sell my house. It expired. When it sells, we want to move to California. We've got a job out there. We've got a property that we need to get rid of out there as well. But we want to get rid of this one so we have the money to buy there. I know what's motivating them to sell is a job and they're moving in the job. I know that what is taking them there is a job. And I know that when a job is bringing you somewhere, the motivation to actually get there is higher. The ability is what I did not discover. However, remember, step 2 is a 24-hour before the appointment pre-qualify call. So I'll discover that on step 2, but I know that they own the house. I'm going to go to the tax record and see who's the owner of the property. Once I know that they're the owner of the property and I know that they want to sell, that gives me a little bit of information on the ability. I know that their timeline is now because they have a job. Once I have that information, I'm done talking. Why? Because I'm not selling them. I am going to say, great, I'm going to be in your area tomorrow at 2 or Thursday at 3. I'd love to sit down with you and go over how my team can help you get to California very quickly as possible with less interruptions in your transaction so that you can get to your job successfully in 30, 60, 90 days. Would Thursday at 3 work or would Thursday at 4 be better? I'm setting the appointment. And then what I'm doing once I set the appointment, I'm going to step 2, which is calling them 24 hours before to pre-qualify them. That's when I'm asking the initial follow-up questions so that when I go to the sales appointment and I actually use my sales skills to pitch them, that I know what I'm pitching them. So many times we're trying to sell people without having first discovered what is it that they really need. So when I call them in that 24-hour pre-qualification call, here's my question. Okay, you mentioned you have to go to a job. When do you need to be there? Okay, if you need to be there in 30 days, are you able to leave and leave me in charge of the house with the keys and I can take care of all of the cell functionings during that time? Is there anything that you have that's outstanding that you would need to take care of that would cause you to stay here? If I get an offer for you quickly, are you able to accept it? I'm able to ask all these background questions. I'm able to find out if you want cash. I'm able to find out if you prefer a loan. I'm able to find out if you want a 7-day inspection period or a 10-day inspection period. I'm able to find out if you need to handle some business at your current job, so you need to be here another 60 days before you sell. All of this is giving me the information that I need to prepare to actually have a sales pitch meeting with you, i.e. a consultation. When I show up for the consultation, that is my opportunity to now, based on all the information that you've presented me, I can give you comps, market analysis, and I can now say, here's how I can help you. Here is my pitch. And now when I go in and pitch them, I'm actually hitting the targets that they want to discuss, the numbers that are important to them, because I've done a great job of doing all the background information. I'm not doing all of this on a cold call. On a cold call, people are trying to build rapport, find out, discuss commissions. I'm not discussing commissions with you because I'm not even discussing selling with you on a cold call. The whole purpose of a cold call is to set the appointment. And I feel like if real estate agents understood this, they wouldn't be so apprehensive about cold calling, because cold calling doesn't require any skills from me other than the ability to ask the right questions. When you understand that the purpose of a cold call is to set the appointment, you are only going to focus on asking questions during a cold call. Why? Because questions give me information. Lead generation is gathering information so that I know how to serve you when the time comes. This is a skill set that a lot of agents are missing. They're trying to sell, and guess what? You can't sell effectively in a 3-minute call. That's why you're not closing the deal. But if you change the focus to say, okay, the purpose of this cold call is not to sell them. The purpose of this cold call is to find out what they need and to set an appointment. And finding out what they need is secondary, because that's the purpose of my 24-hour in advance call to you, is to solidify and find out what you really need, so that when I show up, I show up with a proposal that outlines what you really need. So hopefully you're getting some value of this. Next week, we're going to talk about database, but guess what? I want to share this with you. And I'm going to put a link in here for you to register. I am doing a free 1-hour database to database training on Wednesday, February 26th from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's going to be a link to register here in the description box. Make sure you are registered. I'm not going to do a replay. So if you want to learn how to take your database to a data bank and how to really segment leads, target leads, and that's what we're going to be talking about next week, how to build a $10 million pipeline using your database, then you're going to want to be there. So I appreciate you for tuning in. Prayerfully, you got something out of this message that's going to really help you grow your business. But I want you to take 3 things away. Well, 4 things. 1, that the purpose of the cold call is to set the appointment. 2, that when you're on a cold call, the only thing that you should be focusing on is discovery, asking questions that will help you uncover their motivation, their ability, their timeline. 3, you're going to let them know that you're going to call them 24 hours before the appointment to gather a little bit of information so that the appointment can be productive. During that call, you're going to do as much discovery and get as much information about what they need possible, how you can serve them. And then 4, you're going to go on the sales pitch, which is the appointment. And then you're going to show them all of the ways, all of the opportunities that you have to serve them and help them get their home sold. That is how this thing works. I don't need my skills for selling until I actually sit down with them to actually pitch them. Everything before that is just information gathering. When you understand this, cold calling becomes easy, because only thing I need to know on the cold calls is, when do you want to leave? Where you want to go? How much do you want to make? When do you want to get on the market? How quickly do you want to do showings? Do you want to do open houses? I'm only asking questions. So now I'm not nervous because I'm not selling. Hopefully this makes sense to you and you'll see us at this webinar on the 26th. Have a good day.